Hey there, guys. Alright, today we are back with some more History Matters, and this time returning with another one of their short animated documentaries. This one on how did Europe react to the fall of Constantinople. I really enjoyed their video on the how did the world react to the fall of the USSR. That was really well made, and I'm expecting the same quality. Before we dive in, make sure you go and check out the links in the description box below. I would love it if you joined the Discord and followed me over at Twitch. Okay, not really going to say anything else here at the beginning of the video. Let's just go ahead and dive right in and learn a little bit about what people thought.
The fall of Constantinople in 1453 is considered by many to be one of the most important events in human history. To some modern historians, it marks the end of the medieval period, and to others, it merely marks the final end of the long, drawn-out decline of the Roman Empire and the beginnings of Ottoman control over this region.
I also like to point this as the end of the medieval period, just purely because I love the poeticism of the medieval period beginning with the fall of Western Rome, with the collapse of Western Rome, and then ending with the final collapse of Eastern Rome. I don't know, feels very, I don't know, it just feels right to me.
But how did the contemporary people of Europe react to this event? So, after the city's fall to Mehmet, you can now call me the Conqueror II, the first Europeans to hear about the news outside of the city itself were Venetian and Genoese traders.
We died.
And they immediately returned to their respective homes and spread the news, to which the response in those cities was absolute terror. Not because of Constantinople's importance historically or religiously, but because their trade had just been impacted and they really liked money. News spread further, and it wasn't long before the city of Rome and the papacy knew of Constantinople's demise. The sitting Pope Nicholas V was absolutely terrified, and he immediately put out the call for a crusade to retake the city. Now, he had this reaction.
Dear Europe, it's crusade o'clock, gentlemen. Oh, my love, Pope Nicky V. XX.
For two main reasons. The first was that Constantinople's capture now meant that the Ottomans could turn their full attention to the north. The second was that Rome was now the last of the 5 major Christian cities not under the control of non-Christians, and as a result those that lived there assumed that they would be next. There was also some salt in the wound, since Rome and Constantinople were making great strides in fixing their previous schism. So what about the rest of Europe and its secular rulers? Well, in France, the king was obviously disheartened by the news, but much like his English counterpart, he was busy fighting a war and so was a tad preoccupied. Also, leaving the kingdom that you ruled for several years meant that it was open to being usurped or perhaps re-invaded by those you just defeated. As for the Holy Roman Empire, their relationship with the Byzantine Empire was a tad more complicated. Whilst the leadership there saw the city of Constantinople as a bastion of Christianity, it was populated by the wrong sort of Christians, whom everyone had spent the last 400 years condemning as heretics, and so frankly, there was no love lost. Also, no one could argue about who was the true successor to the Roman Empire anymore. All of this said, the Holy Roman Empire now knew that the Ottomans would be pushing north. The emperor at this time, Frederick III, was much more concerned with internal problems and keeping his domains in line, and so he had little to spare for any crusade. As for the other major Catholic nations of Europe, their responses are basically non-existent, meaning that in all likelihood it wasn't that much of a big deal to them, or they simply had more pressing issues. But what about Europe's leading non-Catholic nation, the Orthodox Principality of Moscow? Well, its prince, Vasily II, had previously had a falling out with the leadership of Constantinople due to its aforementioned making up with the Pope. He had previously declared the Moscow Orthodox Church to be independent of the Byzantine one, and with Constantinople now gone, his was now the leading branch. And so he was just fine with it, and as Vasily's successors would go on to do, Moscow could now claim to be the third Rome and the latest in the succession of the Roman Empire of antiquity. And so, from this, we can see that for the most part, Europe's reaction, barring that of the Italian states, was fairly muted. This was mostly because the fall of a city of heretics, even a prestigious one like Constantinople, had little immediate effect on them. And as for the Pope's crusade, well, Nicholas did soon try to force the hands of Europe's secular leadership, but before he could begin assembling a Christian response, he caught a small case of death. Meaning...
Small case of death, I love it. Every time they do it, it makes me chuckle.
That no attempt to retake the city was ever made. I hope you enjoyed this.
This was a good video. This was really well done. I will say that I think the main concern with the Ottomans conquering Constantinople was just the pure fact that, again, like they were saying throughout the video here, it was not really a religious feeling that they cared about. It was the fact more so that, the Ottomans no longer have anything really stopping them from marching west now. The only thing in their way are the Balkan states, Hungary, and Austria. And so, you know, Vienna is their really, out of all the cities that stand between Constantinople and Europe, Vienna is that next big city. So yeah, that concern, definitely, I think that would be the biggest concern, how people would react. But I think this initial reaction of, well, as long as they don't come more west, it's fine. But if they come more west, then we're scared, right? That kind of vibe. But yeah, that was how Europe reacted to the fall of Constantinople in 1453. A short animated documentary by History Matters. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.